Greetings. This is the one you've known as Jesus the Christ. I'd like to talk about something today that may be your world's most pressing issue: climate change. This is not a subject that's easy to cover in so short a message, but I'll do my best to touch on the most important points. To say that your world is at a tipping point is not an exaggeration. You're close to a point of no return, where the climate changes that you're experiencing will not be able to be reversed. It is of critical importance that you take some actions now to slow down global warming. Your individual efforts will not be sufficient without the political will to put certain regulations and restrictions in place. Of utmost importance is the switch from fossil fuels to clean energy. The car industry needs to change and change quickly. This is one of the areas of impact where your actions can have the most impact. Second, you need to stop or drastically reduce deforestation and plant more trees. This is also an area that's within your power to make a significant difference. Third, overfishing needs to stop, and with better regulations this is possible. These are 3 things that your governments can do that will make a difference in the devastation that's occurring and will continue to occur to an even greater extent as a result of climate change. From our viewpoint, this situation is expected, given humanity's level of spiritual evolution and its technological advancement. Many other worlds, not unlike your own, have found themselves in a similar situation. Your technological advancement has outstripped your spiritual development. In other words, humanity doesn't have the wisdom or inner restraint to make beneficial choices in the use of technology, choices that benefit the whole. Special interests, meaning the interests of the few who hold the power, are running rampant over what's best for society as a whole. This is immoral, but it isn't considered immoral, but merely entrepreneurial. The general attitude is, who wouldn't try to make the most profit using a particular technology? Profit is a corporation's goal and raison d'etre, and corporations are unabashed about this. Putting profit above all else is simply how business is done and expected to be done, and a corporation would be considered foolish and disloyal to their shareholders to do otherwise, and unlikely to succeed. Government intervention is needed to balance people's greed with the good of the whole. Capitalism is all well and good when the right values are held by capitalists and guide their behavior. But capitalism is ultimately unsuccessful when profit rules above what's best for individuals and society. Laws and regulations are needed to check human beings' worst instincts, their greed and selfishness. This is where capitalism fails. In valuing profit above all else, too many are producing products, such as petrochemicals and other pollutants, that are harmful to people's health and to the earth, or products that waste your natural resources, including wasteful packaging. This is wrong and should be criminal, but you lack the regulations that would prevent this. Corporations have been taking advantage of the earth's bounty without replenishing those resources, which until recently you've seen as unlimited. That's part of the problem. You've been living the high life at the expense of Mother Earth, taking all you can get from her without being accountable to the long-term consequences. Well, the time is swiftly approaching for those consequences. Humanity is and will inevitably be experiencing consequences for the mismanagement of Earth's resources in the days to come. but it is not too late to do something that will lessen those consequences. At a certain point, however, it will be too late, and humanity won't be able to escape those consequences. What you do today will determine how severe those consequences will be, and whether some of them can be avoided. There is still time to turn back the clock in some ways. Having said this, I'll reiterate that this same scenario has taken place on similar worlds and was anticipated by those guiding your planet. Channels have been giving warnings about this for some decades. And I'm sorry that I can't paint a shining picture of your future in this regard. The lesson of proper stewardship and respect for life on your planet has not been learned yet by so many who are alive, and many more will reincarnate to both heal the earth and experience consequences for their previous harmful actions toward the earth or some similar world. As I've so often said, the earth is a school, and consequences are one of the main teachers. This is not simply a lesson in ecology, in understanding the interconnectedness of life. You understand that clearly enough at this point. But unfortunately, this knowledge isn't sufficiently informing your decisions, which is an indication of a deeper problem, a moral problem. Most of humanity is still ego-driven and concerned with getting the most for themselves, rather than operating in service to society as a whole, in service to all life and all human beings. You are still a world of nation-states, rather than realizing that you are all human beings living on the same planet, and that whatever happens to the least of you happens to you. You are one humanity, one family of humankind. What you do affects everyone else, and that comes back to you. That is the law of karma. You cannot act in this world without those actions having an effect, and that effect comes back to you as a teaching. Love creates more love, and hatred creates more of the same. Selfishness and greed are not the way. Love is the way. Whether you are an individual, a corporation, or a nation, this is true. You may think that corporate entities are getting away with murder, so to speak, but they're not. Some of them are literally destroying the world they and others live in. They're acting as if they live somewhere else, but there will soon be nowhere else to go to avoid the results of the damage they've wreaked on the planet. You, the people, didn't stop them through your governments, and that is the people's, the government's lesson. Those who allow themselves to be victimized by corporations are complicit, in a sense, in their acceptance of this. The whistleblowers and concerned citizens working to change environmental policies are there, but their voices are overshadowed by those with more money and more power, who are determined to continue their destructive ways. You have allowed money to corrupt your democracy. This is a spiritual problem. Even spiritually advanced people can be corrupted by money, as you well know. But many who are drawn to politics are not spiritually advanced, but attracted to politics because of the power, and these days the celebrity, it affords them. Power corrupts, and those who have power in government to change this too often become corrupted by the very institution they came to serve. And so this continues. You must elect people to government who are of the highest caliber ethically. This must be a priority. If you elect people without integrity who can be corrupted by money from special interests, then you get what you deserve. This should be the number one priority in support of your democracy, to take the money out of politics as much as possible. The opposite trend has been occurring. Money gives individuals, corporations, and other minorities inordinate power to determine who wins elections, and money also sways policies within government. That results in a government that isn't reflecting the majority as it should, but special interests, which is to say corporations. This wouldn't be a problem if corporations operated more ethically and in support of the environment, but little is checking their behavior, which, as I said, is driven by profit. Profit determines their policies, not what's best for individuals, the environment, and society. Societies that have policies that don't put people and the earth first, as they should in a democratic society, are bound to fail and not do justice to their citizens. Strong societies support all citizens, not just some, and not some at the expense of others, as you're seeing today. Please find a way to take the money out of politics. There are ways. Other countries have found ways to do this. For instance, in this day and age, there's no reason for expensive and lengthy campaigns. It's easy enough for the electorate to be informed about the candidates without the short, expensive ads that for the most part are hit pieces that don't educate the public. Today, everyone can have easy access to information about candidates through websites. To be informed, people don't need to attend rallies or shake hands with politicians. Campaigns are a throwback to times when you didn't have easy access to information. Just the facts should be what campaigns are about. What does the candidate stand for? How do the candidates answer certain basic and important questions posed to them by citizens? Have them write their answers out and make their positions clear, and hold them accountable to those positions. Doing this will help keep lying and stirring hatred and division to a minimum, and also lessen the charisma factor. While integrity is of the utmost importance, charisma, attractiveness, and other superficial qualities that often play too large a part in people's selection are not important. I can't emphasize enough the importance of honesty in the political process. Politicians should not be allowed to brazenly lie, and those who do need to be held to account or shunned. Lying is especially unacceptable in a politician. Honesty is important because it is so basic to democracy. Lies are how democracies fall. Thank you for being willing to consider these ideas. I am with you always.